Hi, and welcome to the second lecture, the second week also on this channel. So last week I started this channel, and it was took a lot more effort than I thought to get some kind of routine going with recording this and posting this. So I'm really nowhere near where I want to go. But yeah, it's the second week, so slow and steady, just keep on going. And I want to open with another lecture, just like the 8-minute video I posted last week. So I'm going to call this something like, "This is what's been holding you back." And I think that also applies to what has been holding me back as well. And because what has been holding us back, or what is holding me back right now, is not understanding what system you're working against or what system is opposing you. So our society is built up out of systems, and you can call them patriarchy, or you can call them capitalism, you can call them family dynamics. There's this whole thing about the demands that we put on women. So there's a lot of systems that are specifically targeted at repressing women, usually by giving them a lot of unpaid labor to do. So yeah, there's a lot of systems that are opposing your free will. And the moment you take charge in your life, you bump into them. You come against them. And these people that are, like, you're usually opposed by people. Sometimes you're opposed by legal limitations. That is also very much a thing. But usually before you run into legal limitations, you run into people who are part of the system, or who are used by the system, who will oppress you, who do not have the mental bandwidth to have you walking a different path, to have you creating your own timeline. So it's not that I am saying like people are bad or people are agents from the system, or like, definitely not that. But it's that these systems, these rules that we have are so invisible. They're so, like, we're so trained, like almost from birth, that none of us know that we're in them. We operate according to rules that were never, like, publicly settled, as in, okay, these are the rules that our society is going to live by. So it all runs in our unconscious mind. And there will be many times when we act as agents of systems that we never really agreed to. And so we react from a way where we repress others in their freedom to express themselves. When we repress others in coming into power, because we too are, like, living in itself is a very kind of like chaotic thing. And the only way to make sense of it is to, live by the rules that were implanted in us, make things easier, separate into us and them, into me and the other. Those are all things that we rely on in order to create a life that seems manageable. But there is a cost, because in creating that life that is manageable, we become the oppressor ourselves. We become the we become part of the system. So what is holding you back, before I'm going to say or claim that I am any better or that I will ever be able to escape this, because, that would be, kind of an arrogant thing to say. What is holding you back is that the moment you make a choice, is that you're not kind of like budgeting for the pushback that you're going to get from the system. So from people around you who are influenced or bothered or in any way affected by the fact that you are going to change something because you have decided something. So you can just see, like, okay, the way you are today and the way you have been for the past couple of years, you can see that as, okay, that's kind of like an energy field, an entity or an identity, probably both. You are kind of like a certain energetic space, and people understand how you operate, and people have allowed you into their own little world where everything is going according to certain rules, but also according to a certain version of you. And the moment you change something, even if that is like, I'm going to quit smoking, your whole energetic field, who you are, the rules according to which you operate, change. So that means that the people around you now have kind of like a foreign entity in their house, because you're no longer, or in their world, because you're no longer the same person. You are now a new person. So it's like these systems, you have the systems that we all are part of. You have systems that are very tied to a certain household, or that are tied to a certain company or a certain organization. These are all, you are part of that, or they are counting on you to behave in a certain way that they have a way to accommodate within the system that they're using. And the moment you step out of it, you will get pushback. So what is holding you back, what is this lecture is about, is that you are not you're not budgeting for that. You're not like, with the quitting smoking example, you're budgeting for, okay, I'm going to get physical withdrawal effects. You're going to budget for, there will be moments in the day where I used to have a little break and smoke a cigarette, and I don't have those anymore, and I have to find something new to do. Those are the things that you expect to run into, but what you don't expect to run into is that some people will have a connection with you because you smoke. The people you see outside of the building when you meet each other on the sidewalk and you're both having a cigarette, they are connections that are directly linked to you because you two both used to smoke. But also people who relied on you being able to absorb a certain amount of stress, or absorb or regulate their emotions for them. The moment you can no longer regulate yourself with cigarettes, you will no longer be able to do that for them. Your employer, who is dependent on you for taking on huge amounts of work, the moment you can no longer, kind of like smoke to kind of like activate yourself and keep yourself awake, keep yourself alert, you will not be able to deliver that kind of work anymore. You will have to stay within your own natural boundaries and say, this is no longer working for me. So that is a very practical example of how the systems you live in are dependent on you staying the same. And this goes the same for mental things that you want to change. It goes the same for, going for your own goals, thinking, okay, what do I need? How do I get that? How do I make sure that I move towards that every day? The moment you start doing that and be discerning with your time and be discerning with your energy, be discerning with your days, that is the moment when people who were counting on you to not be discerning with your time and your days and put their extra work or their workload onto you somehow, they're going to oppose that because you were part of their system of distributing their work. And you're no longer doing that because you're thinking, okay, I want to have this goal. I want to move this forward every day. So you're no longer taking on that kind of work. And, it has abstract levels too, like I said, with your mind. If you start to think for yourself and make conscious choices, you are going to bump up against all the systems and all the unspoken agreements that are running on your unconscious cooperation or unconscious consent. And you're not budgeting for that. So that means that what I want you to take from this is, what is holding you back? What is holding you back is not taking into account that you will get a pushback for every change you make, because you are part of other people's systems and you are part of the system of society as a whole. And there can be legal pushbacks. For example, if you want to travel the world and you don't want to have you don't want to be an inhabitant from a certain country, then there are all kinds of legal things that are very complicated to acquire and to kind of like get a new framework for. So that's an example of, okay, I have a dream, I want to, go travel, and then you run into the legal consequences of you have to be registered as a citizen from a certain country. Like there can be legal things that oppose you or that you have to handle, but they can, way before you are there are interpersonal and other very local aspects, pushbacks. And I want you to start budgeting for that. I want you to start taking that into account, so that when you have that energy of, I want to change something, I want to do something, that you think, oh, wait, I don't know how this is going to affect others, but let me budget, mentally, let me budget a little bit for, okay, people might get mad or grumpy about this or concerned. Budget for that. But don't take it as a sign that what you want to do is not worth pursuing, or you're basically just dealing with social infrastructure issues. And I want you to budget for it. I also just want you to show up for it, like, hear them out, let everybody have their say, but don't let it affect the thing that you, in all your wisdom and in a very conscious moment, have decided what it's going to be from now on. So that was it for today. See you in the next one. Namaste.